Welcome to Classic Car Cave for those of you who watch regularly and those of you just watching for the first time. So we're getting to work on our jig for the XK150 to go on the rotisserie, and this is basically a video of making the brackets and using parts that we had or readapting them really. As you'll see in the video, everything is gone really well. Now what we need to do is just clean up the jig and make sure everything's worked and it's oiled and greased. There's a few minor things I need to do. I need to weld some nuts and bolts into it to secure it so it doesn't come off at each end and so on. So there will be a part 3 on the jig, and then we will start actually working on the XK150 body. Especially at the back where the tonneau cover has had to be completely, not replaced. The tonneau is original, but all the inner wings were gone completely. And so what I'm doing we'll be doing while we're repairing it is where the seams overlapped before, which is always a problem with corrosion where you've got an overlapping seam. What we're going to do is we're going to weld it in, and then I'm going to lead load it so there won't be any seam, so there won't be any chance in the future that water can get between the two pieces of metal. Not that the car will ever see what it saw the first time around. Pretty much with every classic car now, we only use them in decent weather and tend to look after them and so on and so forth. So I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so you can see we've moved the jig with a bit of manipulation to get it under the XK. So what we have to do now is rebuild all these brackets we had from the first car, and this one was used as well. But like I said, the bars are still on Johan's car up in Czechia in a paint shop, so we have to make our own. So what I'm going to do first is we need, obviously there's a lot of damage there on the front, so we need to make spacers here for these front legs that go on the chassis. So we'll make them and then square it up and work our way backwards. But there's the chassis on its own, and when it's all finished we can move the chassis around and cover it. So we'll spend the rest of the day making brackets up for it. So there'll be one set there, and if you look at the back, we'll use, this is no good now, but we'll use some of it to come from here down onto it, and then there's another 2 bars to go across the centre where they go across the outriggers on the chassis. So yeah, and we'll get it all lined up. So that's the start. Okay, so we put the front ones on, as you can see there, and then welded either side. So what we're going to do now is we're going to straighten out. We know that the jig is straight, so we're going to straighten out the car now. Put the back one on, and then there's 2 more, 2 other outriggers that we need to do. So we'll do the back one first to get that squared up. We'll just loosen these nuts off so we don't damage it. It's looking pretty damn straight there. Okay, next bit. There we go. It's on its own supports. Hang on. Okay. Those things still on. So this is what we made the stands up from, or the brackets from. All these bits of pieces that we've had over the years. We've made all different kinds of things, braces and stuff. So we've made it up out of what we had. So not that I'm a massive recycler, but if you can use it, use it. So this is all going away tomorrow, and this is basically in this area here is where the jig's going to sit, right on this. So while we're welding, there's no problems with the floor, because the floor in here is epoxy resin and it marks quite easily. And you can see it's a bit of a mess, but it should be tidy in the morning. So there's the E-type, the track car, and my beige Mini at the back there. So what we'll do tomorrow is take the 2 Minis out, put the E-type tools and everything back in. I've got a special toolbox for the E-type. Oh, they're them horns, you can see. Hopefully you can see them, the horns that I redid. But you can see the lines on it are really, really good. So there's this special toolbox here for E-types. So it's actually for the Mark IIs, and I think some of the XKs maybe had them, I don't know. But I found that in an auto jumble. It's somebody's made up that Jaguar logo for it. But the car's looking great, super ride height now. So I'm really pleased with it. And yeah, this is quite a clever mechanism here. It's not on tight yet, but basically when the number plate goes on, the idea is that as you lift it, this hinge pulls back and it tilts the number plate at an angle. So rather than this come down and strike the floor because it's quite close, it actually pulls this rod in and tilts the number plate. In fact, damn, I don't even notice that. That's caught there. Damn. Bugger. I'll have to sort that out. Anyway, there's always something, isn't there, for classic cars, but you can see the bumpers and all this is really, you know, we've gone to, the door's open unfortunately, but you can see I really went to a lot of trouble to make sure that the bumpers were perfect to the body line. I think you can see there that they're pretty much spot on, and the rubber's on the top. So, yeah. So, I'm going to put these to bed now for the winter, basically just cover them up, stop all the dust and crap coming from over here onto them, and then get all this cleaned up tomorrow. Probably move the chassis over a little bit and then drop down this overhead gantry that we made. It's on these winches here, you can see. So we can just drop it down, and the idea is we didn't want to tilt it to get it out the door because obviously you can see it's too high to go out. So we made it so that you can drop it right down and you can wheel it out, or you can bring it to the higher extension like that. It'll go even higher than that, in fact, but it works great. Clean that off tomorrow. Maybe take that outside, give it a blow off with some air, clean it up a little bit. And what we have done is, because we've now got all the aluminium spacers and washers in place, we've bolted them back onto the car. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and those two front ones is 7, 8. So there's 16 areas where it's attached, where the body is attached to the chassis. But I'll show you that in greater detail some other time. But it looks nice. Okay, so Amir's going to turn it over and show you how the car rolls over. So one person can pretty much do it on their own. You can see right there, it's right on the minimum for the windscreen surround. There you are. So that's how it's secured on each side. So they come through. These are bits off all other jigs that we've made. So you can see they're through the floor. This is where again here and again here on the front. So it's the same both sides. So tomorrow we'll give it a good clean up and put it in its position. It's going to sit for the next 3-4 months. We're going to probably put it here. We'll clean all this area up tomorrow and we'll put it in there. So there you go, it rotates. We were thinking we might have to drop it down, but in fact if you look at the windscreen pillar, it's absolutely, there's about 1 centimetre, isn't there? Less than 1 inch. So that's it. So on that note, we'll say we're going to pack up for the night, and tomorrow we'll put everything away and get it where it's going to be. So stay safe, keep the faith, enjoy your hobby.